All right, Nikki, you're gonna moderate the you'll moderate the YouTube channel, and I will go live right here. Okay, here we go, guys. Okay. Alrighty, guys, good afternoon. We'll get started in just a moment. Welcome, Nikki the Sniper. Welcome, Quincy. Welcome, Johnny. Hope you guys have had a fantastic day. Kind of almost a repeat of yesterday's session. Today. So not bad. Desktop audio, I had to turn it down. I was getting feedback. No, not from there, from here. Right there. Turn it. Alrighty, guys. Getting a question here before we get started. Can you make buy and sell signals? The patterns get confusing with many, if at all. Yeah, putting buy or sell signals would mean turning this into a strategy, which I don't want to do for very good reasons. Yeah, this was a bot, and this was plotting buy and sell signals, and the buy and sell signals would be plotted up here. You cannot put the buy and sell alert on an indicator here at the bottom. It has to be put on a bot, and it has to be coded as a strategy. And these are coded as indicators. So the function to put actual buy and sell signals is only a function available when you're coding a strategy, not an indicator. That's one of the other challenges right there. So unless it's converted into an actual strategy, then you can't put buy and sell signals on NinjaTrader. And the same rule applies over on TradeStation as well. You missed yesterday's trading session. Yeah, yesterday was a good session. Hope you didn't miss today. Today was actually a really good session right out of the gate in the morning. Oh, you can hear the stream echoing. Okay. All right, let me know if that works. Let me know if you can still hear an echo. If you can't hear an echo, then I'll go ahead and get started. So just kind of give me your feedback. Just drop it in the comments. Let me know if my voice sounds clear. And if my voice sounds clear, then I'll go ahead. It's fixed. Okay. Yeah, it was a little button that I had to press. It's kind of one of those goofy things. TikTok rolls out updates almost daily on their live studio, and if you're not careful, every time they roll up an update, it comes with this like default presets, and it's always like some goofy little button. If you don't hit it, press it, or do something to it, something goofy will happen. So I'm happy it got fixed. All right, guys, I think we've got about enough people here. Thanks for giving me the thumbs up that I'm good to go on this, and we will go ahead and get started now. I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button. I want to make this available to all of you on our YouTube channel and on the Discord after I get done with the session. So awesome. Okay, guys, I think we are ready to go. My name is Chris, and I am the Algo Trader here on TikTok. And guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Well, sort of a little bit different, not too much, okay? But here's what we're going to do in today's walkthrough of the NASDAQ 100 futures, all right? We're going to keep it clean, focused, and super tactical. We're going to run Simo Pro on the 2-minute time frame, no noise, no clutter, just Simo and the Dynamic VWAP, just those two tools to show how early this thing caught the shift this morning. Then we're going to take it from the open, and we're going to walk all the way up to about 11 a.m., and I'm going to show you various trades along the way, and I want you to pay close attention to how Simo handled the entire sequence. That's going to be key for today. And before we even get into the open, let's just back up a little bit, okay? Because you've heard me say it 100 times. The DNA for tomorrow's session, I always say that, is buried at the open in the last 30 minutes of the prior session. Right here, guys, okay? This is it right there. And what did we get in those final few minutes right here on the chart? Well, we got a pivot trade. This is nothing more than a pivot trade right here. It almost seemed as if momentum and cycle were coming down. All of a sudden, it just pivots up. Now, if you're looking at this and it's, you're sitting at your desk, the market hasn't yet opened, and you see a pivot trade here that happened in the last couple bars before the market closed, cycle and momentum both above zero, this right here, guys, is your classic pivot setup. All right, and you got to remember, and I love using the word remember because I don't want you guys to forget, pivot trades are short-lived. You've heard me say this 1,000 times. You might get a little pop, and then that's it. The move dies fast. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened this morning. We got a quick push at the open, but it didn't last, okay? But here's where things get real interesting. As soon as the market opened, cycle dropped below zero and momentum tilted down. But then, and I want you to catch this, the second bar of the session came right smack into the 80-bar VWAP. You guys saw that. And here's the decision point that you have to make at that moment. When price hits the 80-bar VWAP, only two things are going to happen. It either breaks or it bounces. So what do we do? And in that situation, you wait, because even though cycle was below zero and momentum was pressing down, price was stuck at that 80-bar VWAP zone. No need to jump the gun. This is where we bring in our higher time frame tool. We're going to see predict mode today on the 5-minute chart. Okay, that's going to be real interesting to see how that one plays out. And right out of the gate, predict mode dropped below zero. Not just the zero line, guys, but price also dropped below zero. And that's a heads up right there. Okay, it was already telling you this thing's about to roll. But again, no trade yet. We waited for confirmation. And that confirmation came around 9:46 a.m. Cycle was still coming down, but this time momentum dropped through the floor. And then boom, that's your early onset of a trend, right? And if you spot that on your cycle chart, on this chart right here, when momentum actually rolled down below this green line, what do we do next? We pause, we flip over to the trend chart and ask the question, is this the real deal or just noise? And sure enough, as you'll see, we had trend confirmation. Everything lined up. That was your trade, okay? That's the one we're going to break down in detail today, the setup, the confirmation, the structure, and the follow-through. So stick with me, because once you see how clean this was, you'll never look at your entries the same way again. All right, guys? So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. Here we go, guys, okay? And this will be, this will go ahead and get started right there. And that's the little pop that we were just talking about a moment ago, right there, right out of the gate, guys. Okay, and there we go. As soon as we got out of the gate, cycle fell below zero. Momentum was coming down as well. This almost seemed, okay, here's your cycle coming down, and here's your little pivot trade to the upside that we were just mentioning right there. All of a sudden, take a look at what happened with this trade, okay? Momentum's coming down, cycle's coming down. As I said a moment ago, hits the 80 bar VWAP and it doesn't break. It either breaks or it bounces, guys. And right now, it seems like it's bouncing off this 80 bar VWAP. There's no need to jump the gun. Let me pause it for a second. If we bring in our 5-minute chart, which gives us very good clarity as to which way price is going to move, you would have noticed that Predictmo and the price line both sunk below the zero line right out of the gate, right there, guys. This is telling you that price is set up to move to the downside. As long as this bad boy is below the zero line, price is likely to move to the downside. But can you really take a move to the downside, even though that's telling you, yeah, it's going to move to the downside, when there is nothing here to confirm it just yet? Okay, price didn't break below the VWAP. To me, it's just kind of bouncing around. So why force a trade? Wait for the confirmation to see whether or not price is actually going to move. And look what's happening here with cycle. Cycle came all the way down, bottomed out, came all the way up. Yes, cycle came up, but did momentum come up? That's the question. Look, ask yourself right there. Is momentum following cycle to the upside? Remember, when the market cycles, you'll see a sine wave formation with momentum following suit and moving up. Momentum is not following suit and it ain't moving up. So let's see what happens and how this plays out. Okay, you got cycle all the way. It ran its full course all the way up here, guys. And momentum is not following cycle. What this is telling you is that momentum is the dominant signal right now, but it's not yet a trade. Now we have cycle coming down right there. Awesome. Okay, this is great. We definitely want cycle to come down because what goes up must come down. Okay, and there we go. We just had a crossing right there with cycle below zero, and we've got momentum all the way down here. Hasn't exactly crossed below the threshold, but doggone it, guys, this is, one of those moments. It's down here already, and it's okay if it's right there at the 0.80 line. If it crosses below the 0.80 line, even better. You want to pause at this moment. You want to ask yourself, is this the early onset of a trend? Let's go back. Let's check. And how do we check? We look at our trend chart right here, guys. And what does our trend chart tell us? Well, our trend chart here is telling us that you've got momentum below zero. You've got cycle going up. You've got a nice shift in momentum right here. Look at this. This bad boy shifted down right there. Bingo. Okay, how about scalp mode? Yeah, scalp mode right there gave us an indication that this bad boy is going down as well. Okay, so if you wanted to go ahead and take a trade, you can. If you wanted to absolutely be 100% certain that this is going down, you can wait for momentum to come down. But to me, this looks like a momentum trade to the downside. It already broke below the 80 bar VWAP. This is the 80 bar VWAP, which is this green line. You just had a closing below the 80 bar VWAP. Remember the rule, guys. If it doesn't break, it bounces. And it bounced all along the 80 bar VWAP, and it broke right here, okay? On the cycle chart over here, let me just go back to the cycle chart. We've got cycle coming down. You've got a break below the 80 bar VWAP, and you've got momentum sinking right there too. That to me seems like a pretty good start to a trend trade right there, given what I'm looking at right here. This might be the commencement of cycle number 1, and this might be where we get the confirmation of the trend when it goes down. So let's go ahead and take that bad boy. We'll
order filled.
Take a short trade right there, see what happens. And there we go, guys. This is the confirmation to the trend that you were looking for right there. Bingo. And if this is the start of a trend, then this is cycle number 1 right here. Begins right there and ends right there, okay? I'm not going to worry about this little hiccup right here, just simply because I know that the trend component of price is going to pull this bad boy all the way down. Now remember, we walked through a simple confirmation process. We spotted the early onset of a trend on the cycle chart. We came here, we did our confirmation. Cycle was below 0. You had a shift in momentum. Scalp mode was down below the threshold right here. We executed the trade with confidence, okay? Now, what tool among the 4 tools that you have here are you going to use to exit your trade? And what exactly is it that you're going to look for when looking for the exit in this trade? Can somebody drop it for me in the comment box? Pure mode. That's right, baby. That is right. Pure mode. Pure mode is the tool that we definitely use to exit our trade. Why? Because we are in a trend, okay? And you can tell that price is in a trend because our dynamic VWAP turned red the moment that price broke out right here. And it's just been red all the way through, so you want to use a tool designed to capture the trend component of price, and that's pure mode right here. And the moment it tilts up above this gray zone, above this gray, above the green line right here, that is it, guys. That is the end of it. And it looks like you're getting a little bit of a tilt right there, but until it crosses above, then that's going to be your exit right there. Okay?
Order filled.
And that's where you buy it, and that's where you exit the trade. Bingo, okay? And that's how you catch an elephant in the market. Now, if I go back over here and I look at my cycle chart, let's see what happened here with the cycle chart, okay? You had cycle come down, you had cycle number 1, 2, and you had a very weak cycle number 3 right here, and that was the end of it, guys. There was not a lot left in the trade. We know that, let me go back over here, that if this is the end of a trend, what typically follows a trend? Okay? What typically follows a trend after we're done with the trend, guys? Pure mode out of the 0.90. That's right, man. That is right. Cycles follow trends. Cycles precede trends, and cycles follow trends. So if cycles follow trends, it reasons to say that this bad boy is probably going to curl up over here, and you want to look at your cycle chart for any direction as to which way this might move. You've got cycle up, momentum up right there. So if you really wanted to capture this trade to the upside, then this is your
order
this
filled.
is your key right there to jump in and take that trade, okay? And let's see how that works out. And remember, cycle trades are always exited whenever the cyan line and the momentum line intersect. So as soon as these two bad boys cross, that is the end of that move. There you go. You see how they crossed right there? That's
order filled.
where I'd get out of the trade right there. It's a cycle trade. I'm done. Now check this out, guys. You've got momentum going up right here. Is this the early onset of a trend? Okay, check this out right there. 10:16 in the morning. Let's go to our trend chart and confirm whether or not this is the early onset of a trend, okay? Now, check this out. You've got cycle above zero. You've got a little bit of a shift in momentum, really nice right there. And you've got Pirmo above the region Y right there. Is this the early onset of a trend? I'll leave it for you guys to let me know there in the comment box. And if it isn't, why not? All right, so let me go ahead and break it down for you guys. This is not the early onset of a trend, even though it's got almost all the components that make the early onset of a trend confirmable here. You've got cycle above zero. You've got a shift in momentum. You've got this little bad boy peeking its head out right there. You know why? You know what? The one thing missing here to make this whole thing work, that's momentum. Momentum is way below zero right here, guys. Exactly. Miles hit it. Absolutely. No, because momentum is below zero. Absolutely. That's the one thing right there that makes the key difference in making sure this setup actually works as intended. If momentum, which kind of moves a little slower than cycle, remember, cycle is always your leading function. It's always going to cross above zero before momentum. If momentum is all the way down here below zero, guys, this is not yet confirmation with SIMO that this is the early onset of a trend, okay? It was a little different here because here you had momentum falling below zero as price was already coming down. You had cycle number 1 right here as momentum sunk, and you had the beginning of cycle number 2 right here, which ended over here. But if you flip this around, momentum is below zero right there. It's likely not going to pull price up as fast as you think, and you might just get caught in a cycle trade that's not going to move as expected. So you got to be careful with this. Always keep an eye on momentum right there. It's got to be above zero if you're taking this as part of the confirmation process to the upside, and it's not. It's below zero. So let's go ahead and continue with this process right here and see where it goes, okay? We just took this little clip for a reversal, and this proved to be a false flag right here, so it's not going to move. It's not the early onset of a trend right there, okay? We do have cycle below zero right there. That might
Order
be
filled.
a short trade, and you just had momentum fall right there. Cycle below zero, it's telling you in advance that price is going to move. Look at how many bars in advance this is telling you. 1, 2, and then price moves. Alrighty, that is my
Order
signal right
filled.
there to get out of the trade. This is a cycle trade. You clip it, you're done right there. 942 to 917, about $700 and something. That would have been a nice little clip to the downside. What's cycle telling you that's going to happen here? It's telling you that price is likely to go up right there, okay? And if price is likely to go up, I want to see momentum do this. Go up right there.
Order filled.
And this is exactly what I was just alluding to at the very outset of the session, guys. These are the sine wave formations that I was referring to at the start of the session, okay? You see cycle going down, you see momentum going down. Right here, you saw cycle going up, and you just saw a shift here in momentum right before I pulled the trigger, and this is my exit to the trade right here. You see how cycle and momentum just cross right there? Bingo. You know what? Hang on a second. We've got something here. You got this bad boy going up. Could this be the early onset of a trend? Let's see how SIMO by itself behaves on this chart right here. All right. You saw momentum. It didn't come down. Right here, momentum hit the bottom, went up. I took the trade. Here, we just waited a little bit. I looked the other way and boom, momentum shot up and all of a sudden now it's above the 0.90 threshold. It's not coming down. So if that's the case, guys, then this is cycle number 1 right here. It began here, ended right here. We're going to see how SIMO captures the the little trend component of the move right here. So we got the beginning of cycle number 2 right here. And this looks like this bad boy might be fading out pretty soon. I'll just let it run until we get cycle crossing below 0 and done. Nice to have you on YouTube now. Oh, thank you, man. It's been a long time coming. It's good to actually stream on both platforms. And here we go. You see how cycle's fading out right here, guys? That's telling you that the move is dying. Momentum is really weak as well. Look at this. The moment that momentum came below this threshold right there, this is telling you that momentum got weak right there. Instead of being strong above 0.90, in fact, I just saw the crossing right there below the 0 line. There
Order
you go.
filled.
And that's it. You take the trade off and you are done right there, okay? The end of cycle number 2. And that's how SIMO captures the cyclic component of price. It captures these little trend movements right there. Every time it goes into trend mode, we always go to the trend chart. We confirm whether or not it's the early onset of a trend. If it is, we use PureMo to capture the bigger swing in price, just like we did with this trade coming all the way down right here, okay? And that's how you do it with SIMO. And this is set to 7, guys. I haven't changed the setting in weeks now. I've had this set to setting 7 for a while now. And this is my preferred setting. This is what I like on the 2-minute time frame. This is what gives me clarity when I trade. Okay, now what we did here with SIMO is just a quick representation of how to read market structure. Okay, it's really, really simple, and I'll come back full circle and bring it all together and tie it all in as soon as I show you this bad boy here. Now we've got now we've got PredictMo on the 5-minute time frame, okay? Second day I show this with the 5-minute time frame. One of the things that you're going to notice on this chart is that right at about 9:45 in the morning, the predictor barely kinked up above the 0 line right there, okay? If you would have noticed on your 2-minute time frame, this was the moment that momentum sunk below the threshold. So I wasn't worried to see this because I knew that momentum was going to pull price down. It pulled price all the way down right here. And the moment that it actually crossed above the 0 line, this was the exit right here. Okay, now, one of our subscribers over on Discord took this trade to the downside, and he posted this exact screenshot that I've got right here on the Discord. And he said that the moment the predictor crossed above the 0 line, he says it was the exact moment that momentum tilted up above 0.80. And he put that in the daily winners chart today for you guys to see. And I hadn't seen that before. I just thought it was really cool for him to have spotted that. I looked at that afterwards and I said, wow, that was really nice. So this crossing right here coincided with the tilt above the threshold from PureMo that we saw, that we took on the trend chart when we exited the trade. And I thought that was pretty impressive. I go, why is I looked at that and I said, wow, that's a good eye for having catch that right there. So let's go see, and we'll run this bad boy, see what we can do here on the 5-minute time frame, okay? Woo! It is hot. This might move just a little slower than the 2-minute, but we'll just let it run and do its thing. You're right here at the 80 bar VWAP, which is where I executed the trade on the 2-minute and got out right smack right there. Not a bad exit right there. You're also inside the 15 bar VWAP, and this 15 bar VWAP right here tends to get really super noisy. So you got to be careful when you're inside this 15 bar VWAP for any potential trades. It does get a little bit noisy in there. Now just let this bad boy bounce around a little bit right here. Yep, little cycle trade right here. If you notice, there's nothing but noise in here. This little cycle trade right here just kind of fizzled out right here the moment it crossed above price. There's nothing there, guys. There's no directional cue that this is actually going to go up or do anything. Just wait for the predictor to cross above 0. That's probably the best option right here before considering any trades. Oh, there we go. That's a nice move.
Order filled.
Okay, they both went up right there. And we'll just let that bad boy run. Always remember, guys, whenever price pushes outside the region-wide threshold right there, you're probably going to have 2 rotations, okay? Or maybe 1 big rotation. We'll see. Okay, this is the 5-minute chart. It's a little different than the 2-minute. What would have kept you from going short at 11:20 when price broke below and the predictor was down? I thought the trade was kind of just going sideways inside this 15 bar VWAP right there. And by the time it reached 11:10, let me get the crosshairs here. Okay, right here. By the time it reached, I think it was 11:10 right here, right when price started coming down, the predictor had already been down quite a bit and nothing was happening right there. It was just going sideways. You see? It crossed the 0 line at 10:55 in the morning, and it just kind of waffled along. Nothing happened right there until price kind of got to this point right here. I saw it kink up, and I said, this is probably not going to go anywhere. I watched this bar, and I was hoping that this bar was going to break. Nothing happened. It didn't break. It was inside the 15 bar VWAP, and the next bar, it just kind of kinked up. So that there dashed my hopes of any breakout to the downside. So I thought, well, if it's inside, it's likely probably going to move up. And the next bar, you had a shift in both of the signals to the upside. So I said, well, let's go ahead and take it to the upside now and see what happens. And that's what we did right there. Yeah. And remember, guys, I don't use this 5-minute chart to execute trades off the 5-minute chart. I use it to try to get directional confirmation. Then I go back to the 2-minute chart and I look at SIMO and PredictMo to really fine tune my entries on that chart. All right, so here we go, guys. We had the first rotation, and I think that rotation here is done with right there. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this bad boy
Order filled.
and get out of the trade right there. Okay. Now, check this out. We've got the predictor below the 0 line, and I'm not going to take this trade until I actually see price hit the inflection point right here. The moment that price kind of falls this way, then at that point, I might consider taking a short. And you're also all the way up here on top of the resistance level. So you came from the 15-bar VWAP, hit the resistance level, and we'll see what happens from here. Typically, price goes down. Oh, yep, right there.
Order filled.
That's the entry that you are looking for right there, okay? And you got this bad boy going down as well, so let's see where that goes. Yeah, the 5-minute chart is really more of a visual aid to let you know where price is about to move and break out. I don't use it to execute any trades off of it. Right now is the exception because I'm demoing the product on the 5-minute time frame just to show where the entries and exits would have been. If you're a higher time frame guy who wants to trade the 5 minutes, this is exactly the process you'd follow right here. Yeah, but I use it more as a visual aid. Okay, guys, right here, you got a nice little crossing. I wouldn't mind taking profit right there if I were only trading using the 5-minute time frame.
Order filled.
Buy this bad boy back and be done with it right there, okay? So let me go ahead and pause it there just for a sec, and I'm going to bring it back full circle with you guys right here, okay? We had the entry here. This was the exit right there using PredictMo, which was at this bar right here. Let me go ahead and just move this to the side for just a quick second right here, and I'll kind of go ahead and go over the recap slowly with you guys just to make sure everything kind of aligns the way it should. Okay, so soon as the market opened right here, okay, what do we see? Okay, cycle right there, guys. Okay, fell below 0. We had momentum, which is the yellow line right there, tilt down. And right here at this very moment, you could feel the shift coming. But here's the key moment. The second bar of the day, which is this red bar right there, okay, the second bar of the day slams into the 80-bar VWAP. Holy moly, now you know the rule here. When price hits this 80-bar VWAP, only two things can happen. It either breaks or it bounces, okay? So instead of chasing the downside move right here when there wasn't a downside move, okay, we waited. Why? Because cycle was down right there, okay? Momentum was dropping, and we were stuck dancing around in the VWAP, the 80-bar VWAP right there, okay? No clear confirmation yet. So while the 2-minute was inconclusive, okay, the 5-minute right here, okay, the 5-minute right here was already firing a warning shot. Both the predictor, which is the orange line, and the price line, okay, had sunk below the 0 line, telling us that price had intent, and the intent was to move down, okay? We knew the break was coming, but we also knew no early entries without real confirmation, right? That's how we execute. And so we went back to the 2-minute time frame right here, and at 9:46 in the morning, which is right here, Okay, this is 942. This is about what, 946 right here, where you had cycle come down. Bingo right there. So go ahead and put that there. Okay. The cycle chart showed cleared downward flow, guys. Momentum was coming off the top. Cycle was coming off the top. Momentum had just crossed the zero line and was pulling price down. Okay. And right about here, just sort of like slid through the threshold right there. That's the early onset of a trend. You turn over to your trend chart right there, guys. We flipped the trend. We flipped over to the trend chart. Bingo right here. And go ahead and bring this bad boy back right here, and we can see what happened right here in the morning. Okay, now what do we do when that happens? When we see the early onset of a trend on a cycle chart, we flip to the trend chart, and sure enough, momentum right here, this yellow line, was confirmed. The move was legit right here. This confirmed it all. Okay, this was your entry. There was no hesitation, no overthinking. It was the system doing its job. You had cycle below zero, you had momentum below zero, you had a shift in momentum here in pure mode, and scalp mode gave you the final confirmation that price was moving down. You know, the moment that price broke down right here below the 80 bar VWAP, which was the second bar, we took the trade with confidence, guys. So, to recap the tools in action, we had Simo Pro on the 2-minute chart, and that gave us early clarity without false entries. We had VWAP interaction as well, and that told us when not to take the trade, when it was sort of dancing around the price. Okay, let me just go ahead and bring that here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right here, when it's kind of dancing around right there, you're not going to take that anywhere, guys. You're going to wait. Then we had Predicmo on the 5-minute that saw the turn coming 2 bars ahead of time. And let me go ahead and bring this bad boy over here to give you a clue as to how that looks right here. Okay, so if I get my crosshairs, guys, this crossing right there, you see this little crossing below the zero line? I want you to do this exercise, okay? Get your crosshairs, put it right here on the first bar. You're going to see that Predicmo set to 30 had already crossed, okay? And so this crossing right here happened exactly 1, 2 bars before the whole sell-off right here. Predicmo gives you a 2-bar advance warning before the price actually moves, and that's the power of the machine learning algorithm. All right, and then of course, you know, you have the 946. Just go back over here to the trend chart. Okay, let's see, this is the trend chart right here. Okay, you had the 946 validation to the entire setup. Okay, you can't build that kind of trade map without these tools in the market. Okay, and think about what happened today. You had an early pop, and that was ignored. That was ignored correctly because we noticed that you had a pivot trade right before the open, and you know pivot trades are short-lived. You had the VWAP dance that we avoided wisely as well, which was all this stuff right here. You had Predicmo giving you a heads up, which prepped you in advance on the 5-minute time frame, at least 2 bars before the actual drop on the 5-minute time frame. And you had the 946 confirmation that you executed the trade on to take this nice move to the downside. That's not guessing, guys. That's process. And if you weren't using these tools today, you missed a surgical setup. Now, if you're serious, here's your task, guys, okay? And this is only for our current members. Load up your 2-minute Simo on the chart, set it to 7, pull up Predicmo on the 5-minute chart, set the predict line to 30, and rewind to 9:30 a.m. Okay, step through all the way to the 946 trade to the downside. Mark your cycle onset. Label the VWAP interaction. Then confirm with the trend chart right here. And then screenshot and send it over to me via Discord or Telegram. And definitely, guys, don't skip this. Don't cheat the replay. Train like a trader who really wants this. This is the whole reason why we do these trader huddles, to sharpen you up for the next move. And this is exactly what happened yesterday afternoon. I came on here, we kind of went over the recap, we went over the replays, the hows and the whys, and guess what happened today? The market woke up and gave you fresh opportunities, and either you were ready to capture these opportunities or you stood on the sidelines hoping that you had these tools in your arsenal to have caught these moves to the downside. Okay, now look, I'm off tomorrow. I'll be back live Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. You've got 4 days to either keep watching others post their wins or get in here, take the 7-day free trial, and build your edge. So if you're tired of guessing, tired of giving back profits, tired of watching the move after it already happened, then do something about it. Do something different, guys. You can click the link in the bio, take this bad boy for a 7-day free trial, join the Discord, watch the YouTube recaps, and then take your shot. Great traders aren't random. Okay? All these great trades that we just put on right now, none of them were random, okay? They were earned and precisely timed. So let's go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop it there and take any Q&A you guys might have. And if you got any questions, guys, let's go. Just drop them in the comment box. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because that's the only way you're going to find out when I come live. I do come here every day, Monday through Thursday at 5:30 Eastern. I spend time with you guys at least an hour a day just to kind of go over the process because I want you guys to have this become second nature. Because the moment it becomes second nature, guys, you guys are going to be executing with a high level of conviction, and that's what it takes to win in the market. Following a process that you absolutely 100% trust and believe in. Count the cycles and focus on that only if you're looking at the cycle chart. You can look at the beginning of the cycle rotation here on the trend chart, but your primary execution tool is always going to be PureMo. This bad boy right here, remember, you follow the process of confirmation, right? Cycle below zero, momentum below zero, great, awesome. Then you've got your shift in momentum right here. But once you get into the trade, this is the tool that'll ultimately get you out of the trade. So you got to keep an eye on PureMo when price is trending. That's the only time you keep an eye on this tool right here. It's different, however, if you're only looking at the cycle chart. The cycle chart's a little bit different right here in the way that it works, okay? And if price is cycling, okay, in other words, if price is inside the VWAP, you can certainly use SIMO to count the cyclic rotations of the move. So right here, for example, you had cycle number 1. Momentum goes all the way up here. You had cycle number 2, and that was it. You're inside the VWAP. But right here, you're outside of the VWAP. You want to flip over to your trend chart the moment you see the early onset of a trend and use PureMo to capture this move right here. Okay, so if price is inside the VWAP, SIMO will do a great job at counting the cycles and getting you out perfectly inside when the market is cycling. But if the market is trending the way it did right here, it's going to get a little bit nervous because this is set to 7, and a setting to 7 is telling the algorithm that you're only focused on capturing the cyclic swing in price. And that's the reason why you actually get the nice cycle formations right here. Even though this last cycle was a little bit noisy, it was inside the VWAP right here. See, Quincy's asking, the short trend you caught as a cycle, would it have been wrong to wait for the crossing on the trend chart? You notice it was kind of short-lived. Are you referring to, you're referring to this big move right here, right? This big one right here? No, the one up. You're okay. Is it this one right here on the chart at okay, 1050. I think you're referring to this one. This is, wait a minute. No, this wasn't a short here. This was actually the exit. This was the exit that I took from the long over here. I took 2 short trades today. I took a short trade right here at 9:48 that I got out on at 10:12, and then I took a long right here that I blew out at 10:18, and then I took a short trade right here at 10:24. So this is the second short trade I took at 10:24, and I got out of it right here. The moment that cycle and momentum crossed over, I got out there. So that was the second short trade, and then I took a third short trade over. I'm sorry, a third long trade over here. The long I took at 10:30. Okay, all right. So let me go back here to 10:30. Okay, so here we are at 10:30. So let me confirm. So let me just rephrase the question then. So the question would have been, the long trade you caught as a cycle, would it have been wrong to wait for the crossing on the trend chart? You could have confirmed on the trend chart, so let's go ahead and see how that would have worked out. Okay, cool. I got you, man. So, cycles always precede trends. We know that, okay? It's an established fact right here. You got cycle, you know, the sine wave formations right here, and boom, all of a sudden at, I think it was 10:38 in the morning, instead of momentum coming down the way it did here to follow cycle, momentum just ramped up at 10:38. So what do we do right there? Okay, you're inside, okay, the VWAP. So you know that the market is cycling right there. But if you wanted to follow the process and go to the trend chart and confirm whether this was the early onset of a trend, let's follow that process. 10:38 in the morning. We're going to go over here and look and see what happened at 10:38 in the morning, which was right smack right there, guys, okay? Right smack right there. So if you wanted to look at 10:38 in the morning, let's go ahead and go through our process, okay? So 10:38 in the morning, you've got momentum up, you've got cycle almost about to go up right there, which is not bad. You've got a shift in momentum right there to the upside, and you've got a shift here in scalp mode right there to the upside too. So yeah, I would take that on the trend chart to the upside right there, okay? And this would be your cycle number 1 right there. You've got confirmation of the trend right there. But what happens with this, okay? Do we ever get cycle number 2 on the chart? So this confirms what you just said. Looking at the trend chart, it would have been the correct thing to look at the trend chart, okay? We never get cycle number 2 right here. Why? Because momentum fades. And remember, we're using Pirmo to get out of the trade right there. And this is where it ends, right there. Okay, which is pretty much where I got out of the trade right here on the cycle chart. So you could have followed it. You could have followed momentum all the way until momentum just touched this the top of the gray box, and you would have been out of the trade right there. And that would have been it. That would have been the full run of the move, nothing else. And it just so happens to be that that's where I got out of the trade looking at the cycle chart. Yeah, but your thinking is right. The moment that you spotted that, let me just go ahead and bring this back. The moment that you spotted that right here at 10:38 in the morning, the right process is to switch over to your trend chart to see if this is the early onset of a trend right there. And so, yeah, you know, the trend chart did confirm that it was the early onset of a trend right there, right there, right there at the bottom. But was it a strong trend? No, it just kind of fizzled out right there, and that was the end of it. Okay. I hope that helped. And that was actually a good observation too, Quincy. Thanks for bringing up that question. It was a good one. Yeah, Pirmo exits again. That's right. That's absolutely right. Definitely exits. It's a really good indicator to capture some of those longer moves in the market. And that was actually not a bad move. It was 944 to 982. Very, very decent move. Kind of a very noisy move as well. Originating inside of the 15 bar VWAP right here. Just super noisy going all the way up. But nonetheless, it was a good move right there. Let's bring back the cycle chart right here. And we will go ahead and bring back predict mode right here on the 5-minute time frame. Alrighty guys, that's all I've got for you today. Hope you guys had a fantastic day in the market. Please don't be shy about posting your wins. We've had a few this morning posted over on the Discord on the Daily Wins channel. 2 traders that actually took this to the downside with really, really good precision. So congrats to both of them. I mean, every time I see those being posted on the Daily Winners channel, it just brings a smile to my face because I know you guys are making the very best of the tools. And again, guys, these trader huddles are specifically designed to sharpen your skills, give you a refined perspective, ask questions directly of the developer who put these together, right? And gain that clarity that you need to execute with precision, like if this was second nature, okay? And once you see this and you practice and you put it to work, you'll see how everything follows a very systematic pattern and it all flows the way it needs to, whether you're looking for the early onset of a trend on the cycle chart, confirming it on the trend chart, or if you're just looking to capture the cyclic component of price. We follow a very systematic process here. If you're tired of guesswork, if you're tired of ICT theory or anything else that's just too vague or complex, that's always changing from week to week, hey, maybe you should try something different that's more structured and rules-based, for your trading. And we give a 7-day free trial. You get all the tools that you see here on the screen. Take us up on the offer, guys. You have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. So thanks again for being an awesome crowd. I'll catch up with you guys again Monday. Happy trading again for tomorrow for everyone who's going to participate. Take care, guys.